So what I'm going to show you guys on this video is how to make the templates for your walls. Okay. There are two options here. Okay. You can do asymmetrical, which if you're doing an asymmetrical design, my design here is asymmetrical, so I'll be doing an asymmetrical template for this. That means I need to have two walls, two templates for the walls. One for the left side and one for the right side, which will be different. If you're doing a symmetrical vessel, which this is not, you only need to do one because you're going to use the same template for all sides, okay? So those of you that have a symmetrical design, you should only have a small 9-inch by 12-inch piece of tag board. Those of you that have an asymmetrical project should have a large piece of paper, which is like this right here. Okay. Having a hard time focusing. There we go. All right, so large paper for asymmetrical, small paper for the symmetrical. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, for those of you that have an asymmetrical design, I want you guys to take, you need to get rulers. Sorry, I didn't get you guys to get rulers. Go ahead and grab a ruler for each person at your table. Alright, so you need to have your tag board, whether it's the large piece for the asymmetrical people or it's the smaller piece for the symmetrical people. You need a ruler. Pair of scissors. You only need a couple pairs for your table. Not everybody needs one. And then we're going to be using a pencil to do this. Any old pencil will do. Okay. All right. So asymmetrical people. Okay. So for those of you that have the large paper, the first thing I want you guys to do, I want you to take your ruler, and I want you to, if you notice, put it all the way up here at the top of your paper. Your paper is 18 inches wide. I want you to divide that in half. What's 18 divided by 2? 18 divided by 2? 9. All right, so make a mark at the 9-inch mark. Up there at the top. And do the same thing at the bottom. So divide it in half. Okay, so divide it in half, and then you're going to draw a line right down straight through the middle. Again, this is just for those of you that have an asymmetrical design. This is at 9 inches. Those of you that have a symmetrical design, you're not doing anything yet. Okay. So, next thing you're going to do, okay, most of you guys have a 5-inch base. Okay, so if you have a 5-inch base, if you divided that in half, what's 5 divided by half? Or by 2, sorry. 2.5. So what I want you guys to do now, you got to watch this. You're going to take your ruler, and you're going to take that middle line that you just made and match that up to the 2.5-inch mark on your ruler. And you're going to mark here at 0 and at 5. So you want 2.5 inches on the left side of that center line and 2.5 inches on the right side of that center line. Now, if you are one of those people that I had that are the exception to this 5-inch base, you want to take whatever the width of your base is, divide it by half, and do it differently. So if you had a 6-inch base, you would need 3 inches on the left side and 3 inches on the right side. Okay, so now the next step has to do with your sketch. So you need to grab your sketch and you need to look at this, okay? I'm going to try to get this all in the same frame here. So, we estimated these measurements here, okay? I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this. So those are just estimations. Okay, I'm guessing that I need to make a form change here at the 5-inch mark, and at the 8-inch mark, 10-inch mark, and 11-inch mark. So basically what I'm going to do, so if I look at this sketch, if I divided this in half, and you can do this if it helps you, I'm going to just kind of eyeball this. I'm going to draw a line straight down the middle of this, just like that. That line that I just drew in the middle of my sketch is this line right here on the big paper. Okay? All right, so again, this middle line that I drew right on top of my sketch is the middle line right there. Okay. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out these form changes on here, and the hope is that what I'm going to get, this will be the actual size. If you guys noticed, this is 12 inches tall right here. This is the total height of my vessel. I basically want a silhouette of my project right here in the middle of this paper. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out where 5 inches is. 5 inches from the top, so that's 5. I need to do 8, and I'm getting these measurements from my final sketch. Need to do it at 10. And at 11. "12 is the very top. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically draw this out. So I'm going to look at this right side. I think I need to make a form change at 5 inches. It's angled out a little bit, so what I'm going to do is just angle this out. I need to go in up to this 10 mark, and this is my 10-inch mark. So I'm going to go up to here. So I'm going to kind of sketch that in very lightly. I want to sketch this in lightly because I might change my mind. And then I'm just going to flare back out, and I'm going to take that all the way up to the top. Even though I've got this cut design here for the lip, I'm just going to pretend, just for the template, that my top is just that flat, kind of boring look. So I'm just going to kind of mess around with these edges here. Now on this other side, I need to make a form change here at 8. So I need to go all the way up here. So again, just going to guess, then I got to go up here to 11. And then again, I'm going to just flare it out here at the top to finish it off. So that is just, again, what I've initially sketched out and should be the actual size of my project. Now, if I don't like any of this, this is the time to change this. So if I want to make this lower or higher, now's the time to do it. If I want to change where that is, if I think this is too wide, I can make it, bring these in a little bit, make it thinner. If I don't like the way this looks, I can fix this. But this is when you're going to kind of play around with it. Now, again, this represents actual size. Okay? So I'm going to let you people who are working on an asymmetrical design kind of mess around with your sketch for a bit. I'll show you the last step to this once I get the people who have a symmetrical design started. Okay. So for those of you that have a symmetrical design, okay, again, you only need a small piece of paper, okay? So the way you're going to start this is, again, you have a 5-inch base. What's 5 divided by 2? 2.5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, I've got my ruler here, kind of zoom in so you guys can see this. So those of you who have a symmetrical base, I'm going to just measure 2.5 inches off of this right side. Okay, because this again represents half of my project, so I only need to show half of the base. Okay. So mark 2.5 inches off of that right edge to the inside. Trying to make this a little bit darker so it's easier to see when I zoom out. I'm going to zoom back out. So let's pretend that I'm basically, I'll kind of block this off. Let's pretend like this is my vessel. I'm going to do a symmetrical vessel using that side, okay? So this is telling me I need to make a big form change at 8 inches. So I'm going to measure 8 inches off of the bottom here, over here on the side. I'm just going to make a mark. Now I also need to do it again at 11 too. So right there. So those are my 2 points where I need to make big form changes. Again, this represents half my project, so I'm going to kind of figure out where I want this to go out, how far out. Make a mark, and I'm going to actually turn this on the side so it's easier for me to draw. Now I'm going to connect this. If you want to use the rulers to draw your edges, if you have straight edges, you can do that. And then I need to go in here at 11, so now it's just a matter of me deciding how far in I want to go. So I'll do that, and then I'm just going to flare it out here at the top. So this represents my entire project, even though I'm showing half of it. Because I'm doing a symmetrical design, I'm going to use the same template for both my left, right, back, and front sides. So I'm going to use this all the way around. So there's my symmetrical design. Again, play around with this until you're happy with what you've got. What you do want to avoid is, like, you don't want these parts that you're going out to come out too far. Like if I came out, let's say this far, the wider you make your project, the longer it's going to take you to do it. A lot longer, because it takes that much more clay to get around it. So do not go too wide at all. Okay? Same thing with asymmetrical. You know, I don't want to go out too wide with this project because, again, it's going to take me so much longer to actually make it. So don't go wide. All right, so what do you do after this? So once you're happy with your template, then what you're going to do is you're going to cut out this part, and you're going to keep this part. So for those of you that have a symmetrical design, you're going to keep this one, and you're going to cut out and get rid of this one. But if you want to, this is kind of neat. I'm going to do this for the symmetrical people here. You're going to take your scissors, cut along this line that you drew. So there's that. You can, just so you can see what it looks like, flip it so you can see what it'll look like. Need to make sure it's 5. There we go. So that's what my project technically looked like if I put both halves together. But this is the part you do not need. You can throw this away. You're going to keep this one. Okay? Make sure you put your name on it. And I would put even to your class period too, in case it gets lost, as these things do kind of fall out of the table folder sometimes. But you'll be using this every day. Okay, so for those of you that have an asymmetrical template, this is what you're going to do. You're going to cut out both of these sections, okay? All of this is going to get cut out. You're going to keep each one of these sides, and I would label also too which side it is. So this is my right, and this is my left. Okay? And again, this is what I'm getting rid of. I do not need that. So this is what I'm going to cut out. Essentially, you're going to have two different pieces of paper here, two templates. So once you're happy with everything, I'm going to cut this out. Now I do have some kids, they like to keep this, the positive, so this would be the positive. They like to keep it because they like to see the shape that it's going to be. Totally up to you, but you don't need it. Okay, so again, this is what my project will look like, hopefully, when I'm finished building it, the form. But the piece I want to keep are these. That's what I want to keep. Okay? All right, so make sure you put your name on these. Put your class period on it too, just so that, again, if it falls out, I know who to return it to. So again, this is what your asymmetrical templates will look like. Obviously, your designs are different than mine. But you'll have two different templates, one for the left side and one for the right. Make sure you label those, left and right. And then if you have a symmetrical vessel, you're only going to have one of these, and it should look kind of like that. Okay? So that is that. Okay? Now what I would do, if you have, what I would do is just, I would take all of your templates for your entire table and just paper clip them together. They'll stay in your table folder a lot better if everybody's templates are just paper clipped together. So I will give you guys some paper clips to use for that. Okay? Your final sketches, I'm going to actually have you guys turn those back into me. I'll probably wait to do that on Friday. But I want to keep these because you guys will be turning these in when you turn in your project, because part of your grade is going to be based on your ability to execute this design that you came up with. Okay? So you'll be turning that final sketch back in with your project. All right. So that's it.